Since I cannot... Okay, wait. So anyways, now we're gonna... So since I cannot do the civilization all over again videos, I did it at the past, and then... But anyways now this was gonna be called the Big Asian War. This is gonna be called the Big Asian War. So the Omanis lost the war to the British. Please, I'm making a video. Okay, anyways. As the Saudis like protect the protectorates of some countries. Oh my god. Hello guys, today I cannot make the civilization all over again, so I can make short videos for them. So now there's the Asian Confederation. I did some stuff in the past. So now let's do this. So the Asian Confederation went to war with the Turkish Papua New Guinea because it's on the island of Papua, and most of it is for the Asian Confederation. But the Papuas do not agree, so a war breaks out. But the Russians and the Turkish are friends. So Russians go to the mainland and attack. They even secretly did an attack to make them landlocked and take Alaska, which didn't go out really well, or else they'd realize. So now here's how the Alaskan-Asian War. Here's how the Anglo... Wait, let me just... Okay, so now just right. Anyways, right hand interface. We're gonna put the right hand interface for now. So right now, the Alaskan War starts. So the Russians have this secret border, so they could attack Alaska anytime they want. So here's how it started. Since the Russians are used to cold weather, they take the little islands and then start to gain Alaska. They go from the top while the Asians were sleeping, not noticing anything. And then once the Asians noticed, the the Russians went rapid fire. Giving nothing but a microstate. It's a piece of an island here, okay? So now this makes the Asians really mad. But they realize they're disconnected from the mainland. So while the Russians were attacking the Iranian rebels because their borders weren't that great, and they wanted to give some stuff to the Indians, there we go. And while the Iranians were gonna get welcome to the Arabian Republic, the Arabian Confederation, something happened. Something really bad happened. A small group of soldiers reconnected to the mainland, and they had a piece of, and once they had a piece of they had a part of the island of peace, but the Russians removed them from the island, claiming that they are no peace because of their regions. But there's still some soldiers on the island living, so they attacked the Russians. And the nearest piece of land they could go to is here or here or here. So they went here. So while some soldiers were going to these islands, part of Krasnoyarsk, these islands began to join the Japanese while the Japanese didn't want them to, causing this an obvious advantage. As the people kept joining the army, Russia kept getting smaller and smaller. And the Polish couldn't let this happen, so they attacked Russia for no reason, and went. Oh yeah, they went over, they were supposed to go over Moscow, but they actually took it on accident. But the Czechoslovakians were pretty proud, so they joined too. Now the Scandinavians joined in from this island. The Russians only let Czechoslovakia and Poland in. So Poland got a name on the island of peace for doing this heroic deed. Please. Okay, so anyways, the Russians let them in because they were on the island of peace. So Romania and Hungary joined in, following Czechoslovakia and the others' path. But it's Hungary that went first, following the Czechoslovakians. But the Germans, they invade a bit of Poland and do another heroic deed that will change the reputation of hate in Europe. So they went through some Polish troops that tried to fight, but please, why must my life be so hard? The Polish troops tried to fight, but they realized that the Germans weren't attacking them. So soon Germany gets up and it keeps getting pieces of the island. And even some parts of Polish parts. At this point, 5 countries are going to battle with one. And the Arab Republic wanted to join in, so they took their big army and the straight line. And then the Ottomans did the same, but they let the Ottomans do it first. The Arabians' good deed follows the panhandled countries now. So let's mix all these colors and see what we get. We're gonna mix the color. This will be the color of all the armies combined. So let's remember that all the armies started in Poland. So look. So this would be how some of the soldiers look like. So look. All of these soldiers went through, some pushing went through all of the soldiers, a new country called the separatist movement of the Japanese separatist movement of the Island of Peace. And they managed to fight off them. And Czechoslovakian soldiers went to fight off the Japanese at the top. Even though they weren't connected to mainland, they just wanted to surround like a river, a delta. So yeah. And then they traded some land to Russia. Or all the land that the Japanese took before. So now all these soldiers will become Russian. So the Russians finally take part of the Island of Peace Treaty and take the lands. And finally, the Japanese, now the Asian Confederation surrenders. Now let's look at their first border. The Russians gave them their first border in the war. but they kept Alaska. So exactly what they did was make a straight line of the Chukotka coast. And the Kamchatka coast, in order for the Japanese to not get a lot of land. I mean, for the Asians to not get enough land. And they took Sakhalin. And did the old border. And then they took this land and gave them coast and Magadan. But now the Russians made a very thin border between some people. So the Russians wanted to disclose to make families apart in an area. Huh? So most of these, so now the Russians, the Russians took over and let them have Magadan. They would have to go through millions of border checks just to get to Magadan or travel. Now it's said that this is enough to get you 1,000. And the worst part is that it's cut diagonally also. And then it was fully taken by the Russians. But the worst thing is that they did this, which is not that minor. It's not a minor thing. And then did this. They did a chess pattern, which means if you want to go any direction, you would have to get in 1,000,000 border checks. So yeah, be back. I mean, yeah, that's the end of the video. I'll do this later so you don't have to see. So yeah.